That's right, it's not another headless cameo. Superman is at Comic-Con, just like I told Deadline and all the other Hollywood trades. And I hope they didn't misinterpret that. Anyway, I'm your cult leader, Tom Pot. Welcome to the Pop Gold Pod Comic-Con special. That's right. You might say, Tom, you're a little bit late. Well, astute viewer, listener, and if you are a listener, I would say I'm wearing a Superman costume. That's the joke. I think it's good to wait a little while because we get a lot of clarification and stuff that's announced at Comic-Con. You know, so the last week has been a bit enlightening. A few things have changed. And you might say, that sounds like a great excuse, Tom, for being late. And yes, it is. You've seen right through me as if I was not the Superman, but you were the Superman with your superhuman eyes with X-ray vision. But yes, we are going to talk about Comic-Con. Lot to talk about in some cases. Not a lot to talk about in other cases. There are time codes below if you want to skip around. If you want to hear about DC, skip ahead to DC. The next time code after that would be pretty quick. Because we'll talk about Marvel. That's going to be the big one. But of course, we're going to start talking about not DC, not Marvel. That stuff will be at the end. We're going to talk about some of the other stuff. Starting with Dungeons and Dragons. Don't turn off! Sorry. Oh, yes. Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. The long-awaited Dungeons and Dragons film. Oh man, we're getting really nerdy into the weeds now, aren't we? It's really crazy to me, by the way. I just realised we have not done a Comic-Con special since the first year of this podcast. 2019. I don't know what happened between now and then, but it's great to have Comic-Con back, isn't it? Way! It's, man, it's crazy to think about. That it's been that long since a Comic-Con. And, yeah, some of them came out swinging. And I have to admit, Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves is one of those things that I had no real hopes for. I'm not a Dungeons & Dragons fan. I have a starter set over there that's just looking at me right in the eye. I never really figured it out. But I think Dungeons & Dragons is sort of having a bit of a comeback. Obviously, Stranger Things being the big thing. And I will admit I'm kind of a novice and I don't really know Dungeons & Dragons. So when I saw the trailer, I was surprised at how decent it looked. First of all, I mean, even the effects looked really, really good, I have to say. But the other thing is that my understanding of Dungeons & Dragons is obviously that like you come up with a campaign and there's starter campaigns and there's pre-made campaigns and all that, but I always kind of figured it was down to, the player's creativity. And I guess they just took their own creativity here, but I don't know. It feels like there is, like, my understanding is that there is stuff in this that people who play Dungeons & Dragons will relate to, like some of the dragons and creatures and locations, I guess. But to me, I was just, let me just check it out and see what it looks like. I'm not often a big fantasy fan. I'm not a Dungeons & Dragons fan, as I mentioned, but it looks like a lot of fun. Again, I can imagine that there's probably Dungeons & Dragons fans that are like, no, it's not my Dungeons & Dragons. I have no idea, but it looks like a lot of fun. It gives me sort of Thor Ragnarok vibes. Maybe that's just because we have Led Zeppelin, a whole lot of love playing in the trailer. And it is kind of that wacky, funny fantasy element. The cast, by the way, is amazing. I mean, Chris Pine is our lead. We have oh fuck! Now I gotta try to get his name right. I nearly said his page right. Well, hey, is it Regé Jean-Page? Is that it? Am I saying that right? I'm slightly worried, like, with his name because it's clearly meant to be quite fancy and artisan, But I'm also like, is it just Reggie? Regé Jean-Page? How you doing, buddy? No. Regé Jean-Page is in it. The guy from Bridgerton. Regé Jean-Page. Michelle Rodriguez said that. Oh, sorry, but that's all we have time for, everyone. Michelle Rodriguez, Justice Smith, Sophie Lillis, Hugh Grant. Yeah, it's just got a really interesting cast that you wouldn't really think of doing fantasy. I mean, Chris Pine has the head of hair for fantasy, I guess, although, you probably have a bit longer hair. Daisy Head isn't. I don't know who that is. I just saw her name. I was like, Daisy Head, that's funny. Is that the fantasy character or is that the actress? It's the actress, apparently. As I said, the effects look really strong. The big question, here's the thing, I said it reminds me of Thor Ragnarok, but there's actually something else that reminded me of first, and this is something that should set off alarm bells at Paramount. How would you stop this from being another Warcraft? Because, yeah, I mean, it looks fun and that it might engage regular audiences, but it's also a big nerd property that they're adapting at a big expense, and it could be very niche. I don't know how this is going to play out at the box office, but, it's got some very good directors. It's got Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daley. They wrote some of Homecoming. They wrote the Vacation reboot, which I think is underrated personally. Probably most notably and interesting is they wrote Game Night, which was a fantastic film. It was great kind of comedy and sort of dark side to it as well. I guess that's the like these guys like board games. Give them the board game movie you want to make, and they were like, it's either this or Monopoly or Hungry Hungry Hippos, and they're like, oh, I guess I'll go with D&D. So I wonder, is that going to mean? I kind of don't want them to do like the big meta thing. You know, they can do it with the Lego movie, I guess, but if it's like a big fancy epic, and then it like pulls out, and it's like these kids like playing Dungeons and Dragons at a board, does that kind of ruin it a bit? Kind of ruins the stakes if they do make a sequel, I think. But unless they go like full Jumanji and they're like, oh, I suppose actually, yeah, that's true. I don't know why I didn't think of Jumanji. Jumanji's a very good comparison to this, but I guess they're hoping for Jumanji numbers. Who knows if they'll get there? We'll find out when it comes out March 3rd, 2023. That was kind of the start of Comic-Con. It started very understated. I kind of think when you're the opener Comic-Con, it's Friday, not really getting a lot of buzz. It's the weekend where people really kick into Comic-Con. But I'll tell you something that has even less buzz. And I said I don't like fancy. One of the exceptions is normally Lord of the Rings. I don't know if that's true with Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. This is, of course, the Amazon series that is coming out shockingly soon. It's like out the first week of September, I think. Let me get an exact date. I think it's September 3rd. And there's no buzz about it. And I guess, they're going to, start ratcheting up the marketing and putting billboards everywhere. It's Amazon. They could basically just advertise it everywhere. Imagine if they just put a slip of paper in every Amazon order. Everyone in the world will be aware of the show. But yeah, it's coming out on the September 2nd. Oh, I was off by a day. Isn't that annoying? And yeah, this is the best trailer so far for the show. That's not me saying it's a good trailer. It gave us the most story so far. It didn't look as like, I know, remember one of the big complaints was people were like, it looks too clean. It feels too artificial. It doesn't look as clean here, but it doesn't look good. It looks fine. But the big problem is that for the most expensive show ever, for basically what seems to be the most expensive thing ever in the history of time, I should be saying more than, yeah, it looks okay. There's something to do with a cursed sword. Sauron, is it? Yeah. It looks okay, but not enough to justify its cost. I don't really have a lot to say on it, and that's really I spent more time on Regé Jean-Page's name. I'm going to learn how to pronounce that.
Regé Jean-Page.
But yeah, Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, September 2nd. Anyone out there hyped? I don't know. But yeah, a bit of a damp squib. I'll talk about something that people aren't really hyped for anymore, but that are going to beat into the ground. And then it'll probably rise up from the dead, because of course I'm talking about The Walking Dead. Jesus Christ. It feels like this is something that The Walking Dead feels like it's constantly on the verge of slowing down, but then also ramping up. And I feel like some people are not aware of it, and I say some people, I mean me. Like, The Walking Dead is like a whole franchise now. I remember when it was simple, I was like, oh yeah, there's The Walking Dead and there's Fear the Walking Dead. Now it's like The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead. The Walking Dead, Tales Beyond, and Walking Dead is another one coming, and there's this, I can't even keep up anymore. I'm going to try explain what's going on in the world of The Walking Dead. I have not watched The Walking Dead in a while. Season 8, season 7, I don't know. But I'll try and figure it out. Okay, so we got a trailer for Tales of the Walking Dead. This is a new series, okay? Try to keep up. It's a 6-episode anthology series of The Walking Dead. It features new and existing characters from the series, and it's going to be 6 different hour-long stories. I will say this, and I guess I'm going to say a spoiler. See, here's the thing. I haven't kept up with The Walking Dead, so this is a spoiler for me. I don't know up to what point it spoils, but I'm going to say there's a character from this that is in The Walking Dead and has been killed off. Jump ahead 5 seconds. The character of Samantha Morton, who plays Alpha in the main series, is in the show. Apparently she's not in the show anymore. I don't know, or the main show. The cast, really impressive. Olivia Munn, Terry Crews, Parker Posey, Anthony Edwards, Gillian Bell, Jesse T. Usher, and Danny Ramirez, and that's just a few of them. I mean, for a 6-episode show, it's impressive. And I have to say, I watched the trailer for this, and I might have more interest in this than returning to the actual main series of The Walking Dead. And I did have a moment where I was kind of like, God, I could catch up with The Walking Dead now that it's ending, and I've heard it's gotten better again. But it kind of feels like you hear that all the time. But this, I kind of really like the concept of this. I think like an anthology series really suits it. You get to see different parts of the world. I just think there's more freedom, and I think it's also an interesting possibility here that for AMC they can be like, hey, this character is really popular, bring him over to the main show. It's kind of a good playground and sandbox to mess around with. But yeah, what can I say? I actually like the look of this, surprisingly. Comes out August 14th. I say I like the look of it. Will I watch it? Maybe. Maybe I won't, I don't know. We got a trailer for the final season of The Walking Dead. We've talked a little bit about this before. A very strange goings on in the world of The Walking Dead in that it's the final season. But then they're like basically, like I think like the way it was working, I think it's changed now. But originally it was going to be like The Walking Dead, it's wrapping up. And then we're taking the only two characters left basically from the original show in what's her name? Carol and Daryl. I should remember that, I rhyme. And they're going to get their own spin-off series. So I was like, well, that just feels like rebranding. Like you're like, we're done with this iteration of the show. Now we're going to rebrand it. It's like Scrubs and Scrubs Interns or whatever. You're like, it's season 9 though, isn't it? That kind of fell apart is my understanding. Because I think, I forgot the actress's name, whoever plays Carol pulled out. But Daryl's like, yeah, I'm down for money. I mean, he gets paid a lot. So he's still getting his own show. I have a list here of every Walking Dead spin-off in the works, okay? So The Walking Dead is ending November this year. It comes back August. Wait a minute, that's different. No, it's coming. Sorry, the third part of The Walking Dead is coming back October 2nd. That's going to wrap up November 20th. So that's the main show is now done. Fear the Walking Dead has been renewed for an 8th season, so that's still going. The Walking Dead World Beyond was a 2-series show that's now wrapped up. As I just mentioned, Tales of the Walking Dead is coming out in August. Then there's Isle of the Dead, which I think, again, from memory, has Negan, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and I think the rumor, I don't know if this was confirmed, was it, what's her freaking name? I was going to say Maggie Cohen. What's her name? God damn it. Lauren Cohen from Maggie was rumored to be in it. Yeah, she is going to be in it. And then we have the Daryl spin-off, as mentioned. Originally it was going to have Carol in it. And then we have the next thing I want to talk about. And you might say, hey Tom, you just brushed over the actual show, the final season of one of the biggest shows in the world at the time it launched, certainly. Yeah, I did. Because I watched the trailer. It seemingly was a lot of recap. And then I was like, well, if I ever actually did want to watch the show, I'd just catch up. I don't need this trailer. I'm not going to watch the final episodes as they air. And it's really tough to wrap up a show when you know it's not wrapping up, isn't it? So I don't know. I didn't watch the trailer. I don't care to watch the trailer. It's out there if you want to watch it. But I do find that so strange. Like, how are you like the finale when it's like, well, the lead character is getting his own series and there's still going to be all these other series with all these other... It's just very strange. It would be like if they... Like, we're like, here's the finale of Game of Thrones, and then they're like, and what did Jon Snow do next? Oh yeah, wait, I think they actually might be doing that. That's not a very good example, but I meant that genuinely. Like, if it just like a month later, 6 months later, it was like, hey, what's he up to now? Well, it doesn't really feel like a finale then. And especially when the word is out already. Like, if they gave it some time and we weren't aware there was a Daryl spin-off, then it might have worked, but I don't know. But we will talk about another thing, and this is, I wonder if this is a reflection of the popularity of the show. Now again, it's still a really big show. Even though it doesn't get the viewers, it seemingly, I'm sure it's probably keeping up in AMC. AMC Plus is their streaming service, and internationally I'm sure it's a big hit. And merchandising alone, I mean, Jesus Christ, if it wasn't a big hit, they wouldn't have 9 shows on the air, whatever it is. There was so again, I guess spoilers up to season 9 maybe, but I think this is, well, people know this anyway. I think season 9, Rick Grimes left the show. The character of the show and the actor, Andrew Lincoln. The character didn't leave, and then Andrew Lincoln was like, what'll I do now? So he was going to get a trilogy of films, And the big talk was, yes, that's right, the first film is going to be released theatrically. And we all said, wow, can you imagine how cinematic that could be? Ooh. And then on the back of our heads, we were like, doesn't it feel like the time for a Walking Dead movie has kind of passed by now? Like, the show has been on the air over 10 years. Like, if they made a Walking Dead movie in season 3 or 4 times, holy fuck, it would have been massive. But we hadn't heard a lot about it. And that was because the movies are cancelled and have been replaced with a Rick Michonne 6-episode series set to debut next year. Now, Rick, as I said, left in season 9. Michonne left in season 10. That's Danny Gurira. And Andrew Lincoln, they're both going to return. It's set to begin with 6 episodes. They kind of left it open. They were like, it's a limited series, but we might do more if it's a big hit, which I honestly could see this being. These are the 2 characters that basically carried the show for a long time. And when it's like a 6-episode series, it's kind of like, maybe that's worth getting invested in then. It's kind of interesting, actually. The synopsis we got is the series presents an epic love story of 2 characters changed by a changed world, kept apart by distance, by an unstoppable power, by the ghost of who they were. Ooh. Rick and Michonne are thrown into another world built on a war against the dead and ultimately a war against the living. Can they find each other and who they were in a place and situation unlike any they've ever known before? Are they enemies, lovers, victims, victors? Without each other, are they even alive? Or will they find that they too are the Walking Dead? Dun dun dun. I'll be honest, I hadn't read all of that synopsis until just now. I didn't realize it was that long. Jesus, dude. That feels like someone is really like, we need to up the drama. Shakespearean drama, love. Are they ghosts? Oh, Jesus Christ, The Walking Dead, dude. You know, like you read that and you're like, oh my God. If you like read that and then it was like, and yes, this is a movie directed by Wes Anderson or whatever fucking artistic director, you'd be like, oh my God, this is going to be so moving. But you know you're just going to watch it and it's going to be Michonne beheading zombies and him being like, we need to go now, and pointing his gun all shittily. That wasn't a very good Andrew Lincoln, but it doesn't matter because the time for having a good Rick Grimes impression has passed. It's, honestly, it feels like it kind of describe. And you see, it kind of feels like they announced the show and they're like, "What we need to describe what it is," and they're like, "Well, we haven't started yet." They're like, "Oh, put anything out there, something vague that we don't have to commit to." It kind of feels like that to me, but maybe I'm being a bit jaded. I will say, it sounds okay. Will I watch it? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I kind of feel like with The Walking Dead, I'm always on the verge of like, maybe I will watch it, and then I'm like, well, I'd have to go back and watch the previous seasons, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do all that. I'd love if there was like, if someone edited The Walking Dead into like a tighter show, I would be all over it. Because, you know, it was always like 16 episodes and it's like, well, the first episode sets up where they're going to be that season. And then we got like 6 episodes where not a lot happens. The group probably gets split up and we spend 1 episode with one part of the group, 1 episode with another part of the group, 1 episode with another part of the group, 1 episode with another part of the group. And then eventually the group meet back up. And then it's time for the finale and someone might die or set up big stakes and then reduce and recycle and reuse, you know. See, I just talked myself out of watching it again. Okay, there you go. I'll tell you something I want to watch because I have not finished it yet and I want to get back to it. And don't worry, this is a quick one. Avatar. Not the James Cameron film. Although I do want to watch that again. I haven't seen it in cinemas. No, Avatar as in Aang and Korra, the Nickelodeon show. We got a lot of talk at Paramount Plus that they were setting up a whole Avatar studio. And god damn, did they luck out with this show, man. Because Avatar was something that was like popular and liked as it was on the air. Over time, it's become a juggernaut. It's really grown in popularity. They basically have... it's like they invested in a company and then the company exploded and they're like, well, I guess we should do something with this company. And they have. Avatar Studios. They're working on 3 films for Paramount Plus. The first, we didn't get a lot of information on this. The first was revealed to focus on Aang. Now, I thought I saw art where Aang was aged up and it was an older Aang and that was the focus of it. I don't know. I have not finished Avatar. That was the impression I got. Maybe it's wrong, but it's going to focus on Aang. There was also rumors of what the other films are going to be. That was the only confirmation is that it's going to be about Aang. I've said Aang a lot now, and I'm going to stop. I'll tell you what. Should have stopped. My transitions are madness. I haven't missed a beat, even though it's been a while. Game of Thrones should have stopped long ago, but god damn it. I mean, the only part of Game of Thrones that did stop is actually the writing of the books. George R. R. Martin is like going to do everything in his power not to write them, and one of those distractions is House of the Dragon. And someone's going to be like, George R. R. Martin isn't involved. I know, relax. So this is a strange one as well. I mean, look, Game of Thrones was that thing as well that everyone loved, and then the finale happened, and it was like, well, that was a way. That was 9 years of my life or whatever it was, and yeah, it's hard to get as excited about it because of the way Game of Thrones ended. I will say this was the best trailer so far, and it looks a lot like Game of Thrones. It also looks insanely expensive. There's a lot of dragons and a lot of fire, and the cast is really, really, really impressive. Look, I'm going to watch it. Okay, that's foregone conclusion. I'm going to watch it. Everyone's going to watch it. It looks like Game of Thrones. The big problem for me is that this is a prequel to Game of Thrones. Now, prequels in general, I've my issues with. And again, it is escaping that curse a little bit because it's set so far before the events of Game of Thrones. But it does feel like Game of Thrones with kind of less stakes, maybe? I mean, like Game of Thrones, it was like all these families want the throne. And now it's like this one family wants the throne. That's really what it seems like here. It's like, oh, well, my uncle wants it. Well, your brother wants it. And oh, my sister. Maybe I'm totally misrepresenting this. I've heard a lot of people say who've read the book. I don't think it's not based on like the book itself. I think it was like Fire and Blood. Is that what it was called? I think it was like a kind of a companion book about the history of the Targaryens. Say that like, man, you have no idea what's coming. I don't know if they know what's coming. Who knows if it's going to be faithful to that? But I will say I have faith in HBO. Okay, let's compare. I'm going to compare Walking Dead with AMC. I'm going to compare Game of Thrones with HBO. It's two shows that launched roughly around the same time, were massive shows, one until pretty much the end, and one kind of has petered out and is still going and has expanded multiple times. I don't think I need to explain which one is which. HBO actually cancelled a Game of Thrones show that was like worth 30 million as a pilot because they didn't think it was up to par. Yeah, I think they've also cancelled other spin-offs that didn't get aired. To me, that's like, you have my trust. Even if the last season was a bit meh, they actually wanted to extend the last season. I think it was the showrunners who were like, no, we're going to go not work on a Star Wars film anymore. So they have my trust and my faith based on that. And I hope this is an indication that this show is going to be good. If you compare that to The Walking Dead, they're like, how long is this season going to be? 16 episodes. We really don't need 16 episodes. We don't. What's Frank Darabont saying? No. You're going to stay on this farm, Frank Darabont, and we're going to pay you $200 million because we fucked up in that lawsuit. Look that up. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I'll talk about another franchise now that has its fans revolted against it. Star Trek. Okay, that transition was bad, admittedly. Star Trek had a presence at Comic-Con. Look, as well documented on this podcast and elsewhere, I'm not a big Star Trek fan. I've watched the JJ. I'm the Star Trek fan. I'm the Star Trek fan that Star Trek fans hate and CBS love. In that I like the Abrams movies. I've never watched any of the rest of it, and I don't really care. Whereas Star Trek fans are like, what? I'm probably the person that would watch Discovery and be like, yeah, that's all right. Whereas most fans hate it and hate Picard and all that shit. But we did get a teaser for season 3 of Picard. Picard, from what I've gathered from the internet and from Red Letter Media specifically, is like the biggest dumpster fire of a show. And they're pulling the last rabbit out of the hat here and bringing back the rest of the Next Generation cast. And I didn't watch anything for this, actually. I think, was there a trailer? Probably was. I didn't watch it. It means nothing to me. I didn't watch Next Generation. I didn't watch Picard. I think you know what you're getting now. You're either on board with Picard or you're not. Maybe the Next Generation is going to get more people invested. I don't know. This is the last season of that show. Probably for the best, seemingly. It feels like they're breaking all their own rules. But either way, we got most interesting thing out of this. It's actually funny because it's the two Star Trek things that people like the most. There was Lower Decks, which is the animated series. And there is actually, before we get that, Lower Decks is going to cross over with Deep Space Nine as well. So, they're getting fans on board there. Lower Decks is one of those shows that people at first didn't like. It was like, oh, this is comedy, this is Star Trek. Whereas I think now they're kind of seeing that there's a respect there for the material, and fans are coming on board to it as a result. But the other show that people are really getting on, and this has just started, is Strange New Worlds. They're saying it's a lot of fun. They're saying it's more like the regular Star Trek. Again, it means nothing to me. But of course, since they have two popular shows, they're going to mash them together because Lower Decks is going to cross over with Strange New Worlds. Now, you might have been astute there and said, wait a minute, one of those is live action and one of those is animated. Yes, it's going to be a live action animated crossover. So I think my understanding is the Lower Decks cast is going to be live action. In parts of the episode, maybe the Strange New Worlds cast is going to be animated. Now, my understanding is that would be acceptable in the Strange New Worlds kind of context, because it's kind of that the tone kind of works there. But it's very odd. It definitely does reek of desperation, where it's like, oh, you like these two things? Well, what if we put them together? It's like, I like peanut butter, I like jelly. Wow. I mean, the other thing is, like, I guess they're hoping that people are going to be like, oh, did you like Lower Decks? Well, you better watch Strange New Worlds. I keep saying Deep Space Nine. Do you like I nearly did it again. How is that possible? I just corrected myself and made the same mistake. God damn, I'll have to edit that out. That's very embarrassing. Do you like Strange New Worlds? Then you better watch Lower Decks. It does reek of that. I don't know. It feels like that franchise is all over the place. Paramount Plus is just launching a lot of territories internationally. I guess this is kind of their ace in the hole, up their, like, the card up their sleeve, something up their sleeve. It's the Enterprise. I tried to make a Star Trek reference. I don't understand. I don't know Star Trek. I do know a little bit about Sandman, which, again, it's insane how quickly this stuff is coming out. August 5th. I don't think this is going to be out before this podcast. It might be. The Sandman trailer looks damn good, man. It's total chaos. It actually, because I've read a bit of Sandman. I haven't finished the run by far. But I watched it and I was like, is this the Sandman I read? Where if someone was like, is this faithful to Sandman comic? I would be like, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. It looks good though. It looks very Whovian. Not like the Who's down in Whoville. I mean like Doctor Who. It kind of got that vibe off it. I will say Gwendolyn Christie, who's got a lot of flack for her casting. I'm going to give her flack right now. What is up with that wig? It is terrible looking. Jesus, woman. Someone should have sorted that out. But aside from that, it looks like they put a lot of money into it. And yeah, they'd probably cancel it as a result. Oh boy. Yeah, Sandman. Looks pretty good. I'm going to watch it. It makes me want to read the Sandman comics, or at least get further in them. Is it going to be good? Hopefully Neil Gaiman is involved. He's been very protective of Sandman. Hopefully he's going to steer that ship in the right direction. Sandman is a Vertigo property. Vertigo is owned by DC. And that's what we're going to talk about next. That wasn't clunky at all, Tom. Well done. Whoa. Let's not start with the panel first. We'll start with sort of stuff that came out around Comic-Con. DC has, according to Jim Lee, no plans to continue the Snyderverse. I was just waiting to hear if I could hear out right there. No, there wasn't. Although, man, then again, most of them are bots, apparently, if you read the Rolling Stone article. No, they're not mostly bots, for the record, I'm joking. Although there was definitely a lot, and yeah, definitely steered some people in some questionable, weird, toxic directions. But moving aside, oh god, I'm going to get barraged by Zack Snyder fans. Well, look, here's some good news. Zack Snyder is going to cameo in Teen Titans Go. I don't know why, I just thought the juxtaposition of that news was so funny. Like, we're not going to do the Snyderverse, but do you want to cameo in Teen Titans Go? You do, Zach. Go on, yeah, you have a chance to be cheery and fun. I just want to see that episode. I want it to be dark and dreary. I want it to be in 4:3 and 4 hours long. Yeah, so look, the Snyderverse, like, again, the definition of carrying on the Snyderverse is really questionable. Like, I mean, like, does Zack Snyder want to even come back to DC? What would he even do? Would it be more of the Justice League films? I don't know. Like, and then, like, that cast is all over the place now, and they have other films that would contradict. Like, I don't know, was it a worthwhile investment to do the Snyder Cut to begin with, but we'll move aside from that. I do want to talk about You know what, I'll talk about it later, even though I pretty much acknowledged it in the opening there. But we had 2 panels from DC, and now it should be mentioned DC have 4, possibly 5. I'm not sure the exact date on Batgirl, but before the next Comic-Con, okay, they have Black Adam, Shazam, Aquaman, Lost Kingdom, is that what it's called? Or was that Jurassic Park? Yeah, Aquaman. Yeah, it is Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. The Flash, and those are the films that they have out before the next Comic-Con. Now, what is weird is that they only promoted 2 of them. I don't know when Batgirl is coming out. I actually don't know if Batgirl will be out anytime soon, to be honest, but it'll have to come out after Flash, and I think they're putting Blue Beetle in August, so yeah, possibly not. But kind of weird move, dudes, to just bring 2 films. Now, I should say, there is a chance Batgirl could release this year. Maybe at the end of this year. Unlikely, possibly. Especially with Shazam being out in December. But I think we kind of all know why. Because these are the 2 films that don't have any controversial people in them. Whereas Aquaman has Amber Heard, who had the whole Johnny Depp trial, and I don't want to get into that. And of course, we have the Flash themselves, Ezra Miller, who is going through all sorts of issues that I'm not going to touch with a 10-foot pole because that's not a good situation, and I don't even know what you do with that film. DC have totally fucked themselves constantly, but I do feel a slight bit of like, oh, poor DC with this one, because I'm like, this is their chance and I don't know what they do now. But they had 2 films to promote. Just the ones this year. They ignored the ones that are coming out next year, even though they won't be there before Comic-Con. They've promoted 2 films that are, linked, but not linked, seemingly. That is Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and Black Adam. We're going to start with Shazam, Fury of the Gods, which got its first trailer. Now, I really liked Shazam. It's one of my favorite DC films. I will say, they clearly upped the budget for David F. Sandberg here, because the movie looks great. It looked like, I mean, like the budget and scale of it looks way bigger than Shazam. It's also definitely taking place in the DCEU, which has Batman, Flash, and Aquaman references. Man, it was a strange choice to be like, we're not bringing Flash, but then like the start of this trailer is like Flash, and I'm like, ooh. I do think it's so funny and kind of sad that like one of the few films having fun in the DCU and actually acknowledging its presence in the DCU is Shazam, and it's like feels like a film they don't really care about comparatively, but there's a fun. First of all, the trailer is pretty great. There's an Annabelle cameo, which is one of the films he directed, by the way. Annabelle Creation was the one he directed, I believe. Eminem is sung over the front. I think actually is the first Shazam had an Eminem trailer as well, I think. But yeah, it looks like a budget upgrade has happened. We see Helen Mirren, Lucy Liu, and Rachel Zegler. Now, seemingly they were all kind of gods that were evil. Definitely seems like the trailer is giving very much the idea that Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu are the bad ones. Rachel Zegler is sort of like in between, I guess. She's like, linked with them, but she's maybe against them. That kind of old chestnut. There's a moment where her and Billy Batson face down a dragon. We get a Fast and Furious joke to Helen Mirren's face, who is in Fast and Furious, which is one of those things where it makes my head hurt. It's like when they acknowledge a show or a movie and the actor from that show or movie is just there. Like, I was thinking like The Office, where like Michael references having watched The Wire, and then Idris Elba is there, and I'm like, that's Stringer Bell, man. Are you going to say anything? So yeah, it's a massive dragon. It's pretty cool. At one point they're riding some sort of evil looking unicorns. It looks very magical and fantastical, which is cool. I think Shazam did a good job of kind of riding that line the last time. It looks fun. It looks jokey, but also a bit more serious than the last one, maybe. Certainly the scale of it might suggest that. This is one of those movies where it's hard to tell where some of the DC fans land on Shazam, because it's like, oh, it's kind of more like a Marvel movie, but we swore off those, and the ones who didn't do that are just like, I enjoy it, but I hate some of the rest of the DC stuff. So yeah, you know, and I think that's more due to inconsistency of the Warner Brothers DC planning, and who knows if that's going to change under Discovery. It might not. But Shazam: Fury of the Gods looks really good. I enjoyed the trailer, I have to say. I kind of do feel like, and again, it's obviously too early to say, I do wonder if introducing the whole Shazam family at the end of the first movie was a mistake. Feels like there's a lot to balance now. Feels like you kind of went to the ultimate, you know, it feels like you went to your last resort there. Maybe it won't matter, but we'll find out surprisingly soon. December 21st, because this got bumped up from next year to December 21st when everything else pretty much got shoved. And of course, we need to talk about Shazam's arch nemesis, who, I don't know what, like, it seems like such an obvious layup to have Black Adam meet Shazam, and yet they're not doing it, from what I can tell. But we're going to get to, because The Rock has his eyes on someone else he wants to fight. So yeah, Black Adam is The Rock. The Rock showed up in full Black Adam costume with a thunderstorm playing behind him, because of course he did. The Rock has to be like, I'm the big deal, you know, the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. Put the lightning behind me. It was kind of funny, kind of awkward. Like there was a lot of like fog and stuff, and he's like, oh, and then like, you know, the smoke clears and he has to like get down off the table or whatever it was. We got a new trailer, which was really weird. It was only a minute long, and it kind of just felt like the last trailer a little bit. So that's a bit of a misplay there. Comes out October 21st, by the way, which, you know, 3 months. You know, probably could have hit a bit harder here. The trailer has like some really cliched lines, you know, like, my powers are a curse. Really? Are they? Flying around, using all this lightning, really a curse. Really, you have it really tough there, Black Adam. You know, if you just stop moping about your dead parents, you could probably, you know, oh, sorry, it's not his parents, it's his family, sorry. I had 50-50 chance. It's always either the family or the parents they lose, you know. It seems like if you lose your parents, you're a hero. If you lose your family, you're probably going to be a bad guy. And he's an anti-hero, don't you know. Pierce Brosnan kind of stole the trailer for me. We have Dr. Fate fighting Black Adam with multiple avatars. Kind of, that was like, yeah, the highlight where he's like holding back Black Adam. I was like, that looks really cool. And I think Pierce Brosnan looks like he's going to crush it. We do see more of the Justice Society in general. In the trailer, we get a look at Hawkman, who looks Hawkman. that's like his name, isn't it? Mr. Hawkman, I should say, is in the trailer. He looks pretty good. We have Atom Smasher again. You know, they look fine. It's just they didn't get a lot to do. It feels like a lot of it was stuff we saw already, where he's like flying next to the jets and stuff, and you know, we saw that as well in Iron Man. And yeah, I do think this is a movie that's really suffered, because it feels like, had this come out a long time ago, before a lot of the other superhero stuff, it would have fared better. But, you know, it's like, we've had some of the Egypt mythology in Moon Knight. We had the kind of flying next to jets in Iron Man. There was one shot that kind of reminded me of the trailer from Black Panther. There's one shot that reminded me of, well, obviously, you know, the multiple things reminds you of Doctor Strange. It's that kind of thing where it feels like, unfortunately, a lot of this it's been beaten to the punch. It feels like it's behind the times a bit. And there's also one line that I think this is I think, was it the tagline on the poster as well? And if you weren't picturing Black Adam, you're picturing a wacky superhero comedy where it says, the world needed a hero, instead it got me. That's like if Adam Sandler became a superhero, or that'd be like the line for Hancock or something, you know what I mean? It's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. Just nothing for me. I should talk about the big misplay that The Rock made. First time The Rock got booed since holding up Roman Reigns' hand at a WrestleMania or whatever it was, Royal Rumble. Sorry, that was one for the wrestling fans. I assume there's a few of them out there. He was asked about facing off against Superman, and he said, "Don't threaten me with a good time." And then he said, "As you guys know, since we're deep with this mythology, pound for pound, they're pretty close. I think it all depends on who's playing Superman. I'll just say that. I'll leave it at that." And you know, The Rock was sitting back like, "Yeah, that was a good answer." Massive boos. Boo! Boo! What do you mean, who's playing Superman? It's Henry Cavill. Boo! We haven't seen him since 2017. Boo! Yes, a bit of a misplay there by The Rock. It's just so and I also I'm going to spoil the post-credit scene of what's it called, DC League of Super Pets, because you're not going to see it anyway, and it also doesn't spoil the movie. But the end of that trailer of that movie has Black Adam and his dog show up, the tease Superman, which, you know, again, it was a weird. I mean, it was weird anyway, but it felt like kind of guerrilla marketing for Black Adam. The Rock also voices his dog, and then The Rock put up a weird Instagram post where he's like, and I guess I'm not spoiling because The Rock put it out there. But he was like, "Oh, really excited to build out the Black Adam, cinematic universe or whatever, or something weird like that." And he's always on about Superman, and it's like, dude, you're Black Adam. Your hero should be Shazam. So they don't know who Superman is. They don't know what they're doing with Superman. Shazam 2 comes out 2 months after you, and also it's not all about you. If you're part of a cinematic universe, it shouldn't be like, here's my cinematic universe in the DC universe. It's like, dude, what do you mean? Like, just really baffling stuff. I'm getting... Remember when The Rock stepped into the Fast and Furious franchise and it eventually became all about him, and we were all like, oh, Vin Diesel's a bit of a dick, isn't he? But then it was like, what was it, Vin Diesel? I don't know, very strange. That was the DC stuff. Dude, wow. No, this was a pathetic panel. I should mention now, another reason they were probably pissed off is because the trades, Deadline Hollywood specifically, and they're not one to get fooled. They post something that normally happens. They don't really generally post rumors. Was that their Comic-Con panel was apparently going to feature the Henry Cavill returning to talk about the future of Superman. Guess who was not at Comic-Con? And I'll say another rumor. This was reported on the Weekly Planet podcast, and it seemingly could have a grain of truth. They were told that the reason Henry Cavill wasn't there was because he got COVID. And because of that, they had to shut down The Witcher as well, which I believe was confirmed afterwards. So maybe that's the case. But, I mean, if he couldn't be there, at least you have him film a video, or at least don't hinge your whole panel on Superman returning. Why don't you say, hey, here's what we're working on. Here's what's coming next. They didn't talk about what's coming next year. It was a really, really bad misplay. It just felt like a panel where they'd given up. It was pathetic. And this was the first year for Warner Bros. Discovery to put their foot forward. Especially we keep hearing of, is it Zaslav is the new guy? Has plans for Superman. Wants to get the DC ship right. Didn't show it here. No reveals. It just really did feel like they'd given up, Now again, could we get DC fandom this year? We haven't heard anything about that. Very, very possible. I would, in fact, I'd be shocked if we didn't get it based on how bad this was. If they don't have DC fandom, holy shit. And it certainly wasn't helped because Marvel crushed this year at Comic-Con. Surprisingly. I'm not saying it's surprising that Marvel crushed, but the lot of talk before this was that, Marvel have their own stuff soon. They have D23. They have Disney Plus Day. We probably won't get much. Well, whoever said that was wrong. It must have been the same person who said Superman was going to come out. First of all, we should, I want to talk about the animation stuff. I've really brushed through that because, whatever. First of all, I also want to say the weird news that Marvel unveiled an actual Infinity Gauntlet with real gems that cost $25 million. I guess they just need more money to not pay their VFX artists. Like, what the hell? Insane. I don't want to meet the person who buys that, to be honest, because they're probably not right in the head. It was really strange stuff. But we had the animation one. Now I'm going to brush through these. There was 5 shows, I believe, they spoke about. I Am Groot, which comes out August 10th. Again, comes out really soon. It looks cute. Looks like a kid's show. It's nice to have that variety. It feels totally harmless, inoffensive, pointless. It actually was one of those things where, like, when they bring out a new console, especially I'm thinking like, when Sony put out tech demos, it looked like that. It looks like something that they show you to get you to convince you to buy a new 4K TV or something. It was fine. It looks like fun. We have What If, which I had no real love for, but it's coming back for season 2, early 2023, and they've confirmed season 3 as well. Yeah, hopefully they take on board some of the criticism. I think it could be interesting. Who knows? Yeah, maybe it'll be good, maybe it won't. Who cares? Spider-Man Freshman Year. This is the one everyone was talking about that was very, very confusing. Because they were like, it takes place in the MCU, and everyone was like, wow, the MCU Spider-Man animated show, this could really fill it. What about Uncle Ben? Could it fill in his early years? It should. No. It arrives 2024, which again, a good bit away yet. It's going to feature Charlie Cox's Daredevil. Man, Charlie Cox is eating well these days. We'll get to that in a minute. And it's in the MCU, but it's not in the MCU. And this is one of those things where it helped to not record this straight after Comic-Con, because there was a lot of confusion there. But it had Dr. Octopus, had Norman Osborn, had all these characters that were never mentioned in the MCU. And it was so wait, are they saying all his iconic villains he met, and then we got his other villains? We never got to the iconic ones on screen? My understanding is that this is basically What If the show. What If is the show, so that's a bad example. But it's What If Spider-Man? Because my understanding is that this is basically What If... I nearly said Willem Dafoe. What if Norman Osborn was Peter Parker's mentor instead of Tony Stark? That's what this seems to be. And that's an interesting concept. It could be really fun. The animation looked fine. The animation stuff I can take or leave, really. But it was interesting. The other thing is Tom Holland is not going to voice Spider-Man in this, which, not that surprising. If he was voicing a full-time series, he'd cost a lot of money. Maybe not worth it. Just get the guy who did all the other Spider-Man voice, I guess. X-Men 97. This is the continuation of the original X-Men show from 92, was it? This is going to premiere next fall, as in fall 23. Big revelation out of this is that they're going to be led by Magneto instead of Professor X. Another weird... See, here's the thing, right? They keep hinting that this is canon, that it's going to tie into the MCU. But I don't know what that means, especially given the Spider-Man news. So, I don't know. They showed... did they? No, I don't think they did, actually. I'm thinking of the next show. I'm all down for it. Hopefully the animation is better. I like the original X-Men anime show, but there's times where it's really janky. I think that was part of the charm, but let's get it to look a bit more, decent. A lot of people are confused or angry that Magneto is the leader. It's too early for me to judge, basically. Marvel Zombies is kind of a spin-off of What If, I guess, because we got, of course, that Zombies episode on What If, and it's going to be graphic. That's right, full-on zombie sex. No. It's violent, I guess. It's going to be rated R. And they showed a few of the zombie characters and some of the heroes. I don't have them in front of me because I don't care. But yeah, Shang-Chi was there. Katie from Shang-Chi was there. What's your man's name? Jimmy Woo. Kate Bishop. Was Yelena Belova there? Maybe she was. Who cares? Yeah, they're all some of the heroes. They showed off is it Zombie Icarus from the Eternals. It's nice to see them at least be like, yeah, okay, we'll acknowledge the Eternals. We won't sweep it under the carpet immediately. It is what it is. That's the animated stuff. Again, I don't animated stuff to me is fine. I might watch it, but it doesn't have the same urgency as the live action stuff for me. Speaking of urgency, let's talk about the most pressing, the most urgent of all of them, because it's coming out really soon. This is the live action stuff. We're going to talk about these in order of the phases. So starting, of course, with phase 4. She-Hulk. We got a new trailer for it. And we've shortly after got a featurette. I have to say, I'm not sold on the VFX. I don't think anyone really is. There's times where it just looks a bit odd. I don't know, is it that they just messed with the proportions slightly and didn't do the rest of her body, or what? Or is it just the colours, or I don't know, the eyes? I'm just saying the whole thing, basically. The VFX look a bit weird, but it looks like a lot of fun. This show looks like I'm going to enjoy it, actually. Hopefully, anyway. They've also said that there's a lot of potential for MCU cameos, which makes sense if it's She-Hulk and she's meant to be, taking on cases of all these heroes. And they've also teased that there's room for a lot of characters who've never been in the MCU before. Ooh. A lot of superhumors in the trailer. Some notable, some not so notable. But we also got to look at Jamila Jamil as Titania. I think I called her Titania before. It does Titania, I guess. That's probably more comic booky. And you know, this looks like fun. Basically, she's made the lawyer of superhuman cases because, you know, she's She-Hulk. She has to represent Emil Blonsky, Abomination, because she's superhuman. They're like, isn't it a conflict of interest? Because, you know, he tried to kill my own cousin. They're like, yeah, it doesn't matter. So it's 9 episodes. Starts August 17th. The trailer ends. I mean, this probably gives us a good idea of the tone in general. The Hulk pushes her off a cliff and she flips him off. So yeah, that's you know, that's pretty much what to expect for the show. Big confirmation, and we kind of got a tease of this before. She breaks the fourth wall. She looks right at the audience, and I thought it was a weird moment. There's a moment where she like looks at the audience and breaks the fourth wall, and it looks like Bruce turns around to look at her when she does that. So is he also aware of the audience? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they frame that in the show. But they did talk, of course, that this is going to be a home for a lot of Marvel characters. Certainly seems to be the case. Wong, who's freaking doing the heavy lifting for this phase, isn't he? He's all over the shop. As I mentioned, Abomination, the Wrecking Crew were in this, and the big reveal at the end of the trailer, Daredevil is in the show. Confirmed now. Even more interesting, he's wearing his yellow and red costume. That's pretty cool. I'm glad to see that in live action. A lot of people don't like that costume. I kind of like it. And you know, there was a talk before that like his introduction into the MCU was going to be cycling through all his costumes to find the right one. You know, it certainly feels like the yellow and red one might be one you try and then ditch. But yeah, we didn't get a good look at Daredevil. We see him kind of flip into action and then it does a real close up and then the trailer ends. But man, there's a lot of good stuff coming for Charlie Cox in the role of Daredevil, and damn does he deserve it. There was also a talk at one stage, was it this one? Or was it Echo? Where there was apparently he was going to be looking for Jessica Jones in some of these shows. So yeah, it seems like they're getting the band back together of the Defenders. I also should say, and these are rumors, take your dose of salt, give it an old Salt Bay swish there. So there was talk that this could possibly have the Thing in it from the Fantastic Four, and that it would be voiced by Jason Segel. Yeah, we're going to talk about the Fantastic Four a bit more in a minute. I don't know about how I feel about the Fantastic Four or just being the Fantastic Four already. I don't know how I feel about Jason Segel casting either. I guess the voice could kind of work. I don't know. I'm not sure about that, but the featurette also seemed to suggest there's a poster at one point that looks like it says Johnny Blaze. Now some people are saying it says Donny Blaze. Who knows? Maybe it's just a cute Easter egg. It would be weird to reveal a character as significant as Ghost Rider just in a poster. Maybe he's gonna. I doubt he'd be in it, especially after like Ryan Gosling was like, "I'd like to be Ghost Rider," and they're probably like, "It's Ghost Rider and She-Hulk. Get him the fuck out of there." So yeah, that's She-Hulk. As I said, more excited for this than I expected, and I'm gonna now eat my words, eat some humble pie when we talk about the final film in Phase 4. That's right. Didn't realize how close we were to the end. It was funny when, like, a while back, Kevin Feige was like, as we approach the end of Phase 4, and we're like, what? With the end? We just started. But yes, this is the final film in Phase 4, coming in November 11th, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I say I have to eat my words. I had very little hype or expectation for this. It was a mixture of a lot of production problems behind the scenes, where I was like, ugh, this is going to be bad, isn't it? And of course, the unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman dampened my expectations a bit more. And then the decision not to recast T'Challa, I'm still not sure that was the right call, but it kind of made me like, ugh, this movie seems like it's destined to be terrible. But we got the first trailer. The only other trailer released to the public. I should also say, you know, Phase 4 isn't ending with this. Phase 4 is ending with the Guardians holiday special in December. So Phase 4 basically ran between July 21 and December 22. That's short. That's really short, especially compared to what we're used to. But hey, let's talk about this trailer, because for me, this is, without a doubt, one of the best trailers in recent memory. No joke, I thought this was a fantastic trailer. I've watched it multiple times already. I can't remember last time I've done that with a trailer. Certainly not a Marvel trailer, to be honest. And it is exactly what a teaser should be. It gives images, it doesn't give a lot of story, it shows things to get us excited without showing us everything. And which, you know, there's still time. I'm sure the next trailer will show us everything. Firstly, we got confirmation of the worst kept secret in Hollywood. Namor is in this, as was long been speculated. And he's seemingly going to war with Wakanda. And you might say, oh yes, so it's Wakanda versus Atlantis. No, it's not. Because Atlantis has been named Talocan. I believe mispronouncing that as I do with everything. Regé Jean-Page. Talocan. Yes, they've changed it. Some people are, overreacting because the internet tends to do that, especially when they're now, representing a minority or a mythology. I think this is a fantastic change because it really puts two cultures against each other. You have the kind of African culture of Wakanda and the Aztec culture of Talocan, and you're putting them against each other. And also we have Atlantis in Aquaman now, so it's good to avoid those comparisons. And before someone's like, oh, they're ripping off Aquaman. Technically, Namor came before Aquaman in the comics, but keep up. So I think that's actually a great change. It's actually a really welcome change. So Talocan is a rain paradise from Aztec culture, so there is a basis for it in mythology. I think that's really, really cool and really interesting, and it justifies their casting for Namor as well, in case people start shitting all over it, I guess. But I'm trying to remember the actor who plays Namor. It's I don't know why I am, because the reason I don't know it is because I know that I'm going to fuck up the I'm going to fuck up the pronunciation, because if I remember, his name was something pretty Tenoch Huerta. Was that okay? That sounded pretty good, actually. Tenoch Huerta is playing Namor. So as we're going through this, we get a very emotional trailer. People are talking about crying during this, and you kind of see why. It relies heavily on music and imagery. Not a lot of dialogue. And the only dialogue we really get is Angela Bassett, who of course fucking crushes it when she starts screaming. And basically she's like, I am the king of the most I'm the queen of the most powerful nation, and all my family is gone. And you're like, holy shit. Because something I didn't even think about is that, yeah, she has to be queen now because her husband died, because, T'Challa's dead. So she's queen. It's something you hadn't thought about. Now, again, she does have a daughter. When she said my entire family's gone, maybe this was during the blip, who knows? Maybe they all got dusted, which they did actually, yeah. So it's interesting to think about it like that. There's also a shot that looks like T'Challa's tomb. And this seemingly is confirmed. There was set photos at one stage of inside it, and the writing seemed to, say, like, Black Panther, Wakanda forever, our king and that kind of stuff. It also looks like there's a big fire in the tomb at one point, unless I'm seeing the wrong imagery here. I do want to say, if there's one person who didn't like the trailer, it has to be James Cameron, because this comes out like, a month before Avatar: The Way of Water, and yeah, it's pretty much blue people going to war around the sea, which is what Avatar seems to be. Which, that's unfortunate. But you never know, it might get people hyped, and I'm sure they'll put an Avatar trailer in front of this to invite the comparison, because, comparing yourself to the most successful film of all time, probably not a bad thing to compare yourself to. Even if you like it or not, which I don't. I feel like I just praised Avatar too much there, and I was like, let me reel that in a bit. So yes, Namor looks awesome. He has wings on his feet. Wow. I can't believe they put wings on the feet. It's insane. It's insane that they did that. Well done, Marvel. That's like something I can't believe they committed to. But I will actually say, I think he looks better than in the comics. Like, he looked kind of dopey. Like, the shape of his head and stuff looks really weird in the comics. I just think he looks very weirdly proportioned. He looks really cool here. I like the costume. It's honestly really faithful while also giving it a new twist, which is what you should do, and which is something Marvel in general has been very good at, I should say. And something I will also say that, Christopher Nolan did really well with Batman. One that springs to mind for me. Young Namor is watching a home burn. And we get a really cool shot behind him, and then we see a shot of him growing up. Presumably, Wakanda had something to do with it. That's why he takes a grudge in Wakanda. We don't know. Maybe Wakandans killed my parents. Or, he can often be an anti-hero. Maybe they killed his family. Because, as we said before, if they kill your parents directly, or if they kill your family, it makes you a hero or a villain. So we found out also Michaela Cole, who was I May Destroy You, I think it was the name of her show. I still haven't watched it, but I heard it's fantastic. Is Anika, who's the instructor of Dora Milaje, kind of the combat instructor. Normally, I think in the comics she's the leader of Dora Milaje, but that role has of course been sort of taken by Okoye, isn't it? So, I think, hey, the Dora Milaje are awesome. Why not give a very prominent and very skilled actress another chance to join the Black Panther world? We also get a tease of Ironheart. Riri Williams is a shot where this is actually in the trailer twice. There's one point where she's kind of embracing Shuri, and there's another part where we see her cutting out a heart out of iron, very on the nose, and knocking it to the ground. And we get a moment where the Wakandan throne room is flooded, and that's coupled with the Talakan throne, which is them sitting in a shark's jaws or something. That's so cool and badass. And can we talk about the real hero in the trailer? It's not Black Panther, it's not Namor. The real hero of this trailer is whoever mixed the music. Oh my good God. Whoever mixed No Woman No Cry with Kendrick Lamar's All Right deserves all the money. Give them an Oscar. I don't care if it's just for the trailer. Give them everything. Give them everything. Give them their own movie. Make a movie about their life. Because they've done so damn good. Oh my God, it's amazing. This, you needed the music to do the heavy lifting for this trailer, and absolutely did. But No Woman No Cry got all the emotional beats and then got you hyped by the end, and it just perfectly mixed with those all rights. I can't believe no one else has done that before. It's so obvious in retrospect, but that's what genius is, right? It's hitting the invisible target. Oh wow, amazing, amazing mix. I also should say they put out a prologue album with the cover of No Woman No Cry, which, if you want to hear it, it's not mixed with All Right, but it is a fantastic cover by itself. The big question, of course, that we're coming out of this is, who is the new Black Panther? Because the very shot we see someone in a Black Panther costume popping their claws with a Namor seemingly down on one knee opposite them. Now, the poster also showed a Black Panther mask. The question is, who takes up the mantle of Black Panther? I'm going to say this, and I have not looked at it, but apparently there's a Lego set out there that is spoiled who takes on the mantle of Black Panther. I have not looked at it, but it's out there if you want to find out. So, what are our options here? Shuri, M'Baku, Okoye. It's not going to be Anika because she just joined the fray. What's the Lupita Nyong'o's character's name as well? Oh God, what's her name? But okay, so let's go through those options. I don't think it's going to be M'Baku, because he has his own kind of comic book role. He's is it the White Ape is his character? I'm trying to remember his character. But at the same point, Shuri is someone who it really seemed like would have been a safe bet. Before she started doing weird theories about COVID and just being a bit problematic, seemingly. Before that, she would have been Nakia. God, how would I forget that? So yeah, she seemed like she would have been the safe bet, and now I'm not so sure. But also, you want someone who's a bit of a warrior. She's more of a tech character. I don't know. There's also fully the possibility that multiple people are going to take on the mantle of Black Panther, and that it'll change over the course. Who knows? I don't know how they're going to get around, because didn't they it's those purple flowers that gave him the Black Panther powers, and I think those are all gone now, right? But it's going to be interesting. I think Okoye would make sense from a combat perspective, but I think if you want the emotional resonance, you go with Nakia, because she's picking up, where her partner left off. So I don't know. I think you can make an argument for a few people, but it will be interesting to see who takes that up. Some people have said that the form and the mask look a bit more feminine. I mean, when you look at the cast of Wakanda Forever, unless it's M'Baku, I guess it would have to be a woman. Oh God, the internet! Oh, yeah. It's interesting. I should say, I'm going to go through the cast right now. So, I'll go through the summary, I should say. So, I'm such a fucking idiot. I just realized all of the I was looking up the who was playing who frantically there for a minute, and I just realized it's in the summary. So I'm an idiot. Queen Ramonda, Shuri, M'Baku, Okoye, and the Dora Milaje fight to protect their nation from intervening world powers in the wake of King T'Challa's death, as the Wakandans strive to embrace their next chapter. The heroes must band together with the help of War Dog Nakia and Everett Ross. Martin Freeman's back, and forge a new path for the kingdom of Wakanda, introducing Tenoch Huerta as Namor, king of a hidden undersea nation. The film also stars Dominique Thorne, who is Riri Williams, Michaela Cole, who we mentioned, Mabel Cadena, and Alex Livinali. Yeah, what can I say? The best thing I can say about a trailer is when it takes my hype from pretty minimal to through the roof. I was getting a little bit on Marvel lately. This got me back. and the rest of the presentation only helps solidify that. And that's what we're going to do now. Phase 5 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe was revealed in full, pretty much. There's one thing that's debatable that we'll get to. But yes, it's also going to take about a year and a half. Man, these phases, it's so crazy. We spent like 10 and a bit years getting through 3 phases, and now it's like, in like, what, 5 years, it's going to be like, yeah, that's 3 more phases gone. Bit rushed. You know, maybe to space it out, you know, but I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to burn it before it burns out itself. But certainly they're not slowing down. I'm going to say everything here. This is in release date order. I should also say this includes Disney Plus shows. It doesn't include Disney Plus animated shows, because we just reference them, and they probably need a clear idea depending on how the animation goes. But okay, Phase 5. I'll talk about everything we learned from some of these and new information, but I'll call out everything first. We're starting Phase 5 with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania on February 18th next year. Then we have Secret Invasion, which was confirmed to be next year as well, spring 2023. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 drops May 5th, 2023. Echo will be coming that summer, followed up by Season 2 of Loki, which is also coming that same summer. Also, close to the end of the summer, we are getting The Marvels on July 28th. Then we are getting Blade November 3rd, 2023. It's not called The Blade, as was rumoured, because that would have been dumb. Also should say, we're getting Ironheart in the fall of 2023, so before Blade, presumably. And that's obviously going to be a Disney Plus show. Then, the last thing, or the first thing, depending on the year it comes out in, Agatha Coven of Chaos is coming either winter 2023 or spring 24. And then Daredevil Born Again, spring 2024. Then we have Captain America New World Order, May 3rd, 2024. And last film in Phase 5, Thunderbolts on July 26th, 2024. Okay, a lot to unpack there. Should say, we'd heard about most of this before. From rumors, Daredevil was probably the biggest surprise in Phase 5. Because there was been rumors, but it was kind of surprising, as we would get to. So I'm going to go through the ones that they actually showed footage of first. They only showed footage of 3 things. This was not released to the public. I should say there are leaks out there. I wouldn't waste my time. I mean, unless you want to watch a trailer that is, at an angle where it looks like someone was deliberately trying to record the ceiling tiles, and most of it actually they did a good job, really, because the 80% of the screen is the ceiling tiles. With bad audio. I mean, I would not seek out the trailers, but they're out there if you want to try to find them, probably on Reddit. Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania. Okay, so first thing we got, actually it's probably the first thing we got out of Comic-Con and Marvel in general, was the concept art, which featured Scott, Hope, and Cassie all suited up. Of course, Hope was suited up in her purple costume as Stature. And it also gave us our first look at Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror, who we know is going to be a pivotal part of this film. But he has the very blue face that we associate with Kang. I believe he didn't look like that in the trailer they showed, but we'll see. Tonally, it's a lot more serious. It's gone the opposite way of Thor. Thor got more comedic. Ant-Man is getting more serious, seemingly. And it says that they're going to spend a lot more time in the quantum realm here. So let's go into a few plot details. Scott has written a book, and he's developed a real ego about saving the world post-Endgame. His daughter rings him as she's gotten into trouble with the law. She's kind of going down the path he did at one point. And, they spend a lot more time in the quantum realm. And while there, they meet Bill Murray, who is some sort of king in the quantum realm, because he knows, was it Hope Van Dyne? Janet Van Dyne. So, another interesting point is they confirmed MODOK is in the film. Haven't seen anything from this unless you were in Hall H. They have not confirmed who plays him. Long time ago, there was a rumor it was going to be Jim Carrey. What people are saying now, and this was another rumor, is that it's going to be Corey Stoll, who was Darren Cross in the first Ant-Man, and, got sucked into the quantum realm, seemingly. So, that would be cool. It would be a nice way of tying it in. I like the kind of connectivity in the MCU, instead of it just being, hey, I'm Jim Carrey, massive head man. How are you? Some people are probably going to be like, no, MODOK's character is this, but I kind of like it. In the trailer, we get probably the best moment, the most chilling moment that definitely indicates, yeah, it could be way more serious. When Kang stares off and faces off with Scott. And he says, You're an interesting man, Scott Lang. You've lost a lot of time, but time isn't what you think. It's not a straight line. When you can see time the way I do, you can see everything. Everything you're holding on to, everything you call life. I know how it ends. God, Jonathan Majors is going to crust it, isn't he, man? He's such a good actor, and he was, we saw one manifestation of it in Loki. Be interesting to see where this goes. Scott then retorts afterwards, later on in the trailer, he says, I'm an Avenger, and that you've made a mistake, basically. And Kang says, you're an Avenger. Have I killed you before? Oh. February 18th, 2023. What can I say, man? Looks and sounds pretty awesome. I'm glad they're getting more serious with Ant-Man, because I think, like Ant-Man and the Wasp I enjoy, but it did feel just like, oh yeah, it's Ant-Man again. And I think they need to kick this off a bit, and they're certainly doing that. We got a synopsis as well. Superhero partners Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne return to continue their ventures as Ant-Man and the Wasp together with Hope's parents, Hank and Janet Van Dyne. The family find themselves exploring the quantum realm, interacting with strange new creatures, and embarking on an adventure that will push them beyond the limits of what they thought was possible. Spin, it doesn't matter. Secret Invasion. We got a trailer for that. And by the we, I mean the people in the crowd, not me. All the people that woo and everything. So that if you actually were trying to watch a leak trailer, you'd be like, what did they say? What's that? Someone said woo. Was that in the trailer? Kobe Smulders confirmed her return. Everett Ross, who played Martin Freeman, is also in the show. The footage showed Nick Fury, sans eye patch, with a beard, coming back to Earth to deal with the Skrulls. Kingsley Benadir is seemingly confirmed as the villain, our lead Skrull. There's a point where there are multiple versions of him. Kind of like Mr. Smith, I guess, from The Matrix. Footage is described as dark and gritty, with a conspiracy feeling a little bit like Winter Soldier. Olivia Colman, who at one point we get laughing very ominously, so they certainly want you to believe she's the villain, and Emilia Clarke were also shown along with Rhodey. Despite putting out a press release, oh my god, I forgot I had to say his name again. I think I found the name of the episode. Regé Jean-Page is not in Secret Invasion according to Marvel. They put out a press release where it said he was. Interesting. Let's go through a few things about this. First of all, word just came out recently that Marvel are now calling it a crossover event series. Does that mean anything? Does it mean that it's going to have massive implications throughout the film universe? Are we going to get more cameos? Does it just mean like, hey, these are characters from all different movies so far, lump them together? It does feel like that. We're getting a load of agents thrown in, which definitely helps with the conspiracy feel. But again, I think if you're doing a Secret Invasion, you kind of want someone major to be a Skrull. That's kind of the fun of it. And if it's just like, oh, Nick Fury, you're not a Skrull. Oh my god, I didn't know Martin Freeman was a Skrull. It's like, oh, who cares, Is Regé Jean-Page in this? Who knows? I mean, I kind of feel like either he plays a big role and they're trying to keep it secret, or he played a role, they realize he's a big star, and they're like, no, pull him out. We'll get you something better. I should say, there is a rumor going around that Olivia Colman is going to be Union Jack. Could be. Maybe Regé Jean-Page is Union Jack, who knows. But either way, spring 2023. Could be interesting. Hopefully it realizes the potential of the Secret Invasion story. I just hope it isn't just government conspiracy theory, one and done, just among us people, us agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever we are now. But we'll see. The last thing we got a trailer for was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 for those in attendance. Set to the Flaming Lips, Do You Realize? Which, man, that song is a great song. Gamora is back, but not as you know her. She doesn't remember the Guardians. She's actually now leading a Ravager crew, to which Chris Pratt seems surprised, and Nebula doesn't. I know I used Chris Pratt instead of Star-Lord when I should have said Chris Pratt and Karen Gillan, but you know what, I'm a bit of a rebel that way. Groot is quite big apparently this time, compared to what he was when we last saw him, which wouldn't be hard to be honest. But this one, they've said this for a long time, it's going to focus on Rocket. We're going to get a lot about Rocket's backstory. Trailer even shows a baby Rocket. Even there was a very short leak footage that kind of made the rounds. That was Rocket kind of sad. People were going, oh, and people were sad and crying and wooing, as they tend to do at Comic-Con. We also got the first look at Will Poulter as Adam Warlock. That's also been leaked out there. It looks like Will Poulter covered in gold. That's Adam Warlock. That'll do. That'll do, pig. Then we got confirmation of, oh god, Chukwudi Iwuji. I seriously have to answer. It's like a running joke that I mispronounce every name, not just in this episode, in general. Is there other podcasts that do that? Did they just not draw attention to it? Am I that bad at this? Chukwudi Iwuji. That could have been perfect even. I just don't know. Yeah, he was in Peacemaker, if you've seen that, which of course was also James Gunn thing. He was confirmed as the High Evolutionary, and he appeared in character the comic, just stalking around really weirdly. It was kind of awkward, actually. Wasn't a very interesting visual. He was just a guy wearing purple. Hope there's going to be more to him than that, but either way. Yeah, he just looks like some guy, to be honest. He's probably going to be involved in the creation of Rocket. He does a lot of things in comics. He's been kind of all over the shop. I would imagine he's involved with how Rocket got created, Rocket's origin, the experiments and cybernetics of it all. We did also get confirmation that Cosmo the Space Dog is going to be... I freaking love Cosmo, he's so good. If you played the Guardians of the Galaxy game recently, you'll be definitely familiar with Cosmo. But Cosmo the Space Dog will fight with Guardians of Galaxy. But it's going to be voiced by Maria Bakalova, who of course we saw in the recent Borat sequel, Borat subsequent movie film. She was the daughter, was it? She stole the show in that. She was amazing. So yeah, what a great way to get her involved. I think she can definitely pull off the voice. I don't know, are people freaking out that Cosmo's not a boy? I don't know. I mean, if we've gotten to the point where we're freaking out about the gender of a talking space dog in a comic book, then we've truly lost a society. I think that's great casting. Described by Gunn as the end of the Guardians era in the MCU. Is some people gonna die? To quote the South Park movie, it certainly feels that way. He said it's the end of that story. Some stories have an end. Doesn't mean everybody dies. Yeah, but someone's definitely dying. And it's probably going to be Drax, because it feels like David East is done with this shit. Yeah. The only thing I'm kind of if this is the end of the Guardians, we never got to see Rocket with Lila, which is a shame. I guess they could kind of do that with Cosmo a little bit, kind of a romance. Although, I guess it's weird. But he's not a raccoon, I guess, is he? Well, I don't know. I don't know. We did get a plot synopsis for this as well. Our beloved band of misfits are looking a bit different these days. Peter Quill, still reeling from the loss of Gamora, must rally his team around him to defend the universe, along with protecting one of their own. A mission that, if not completely successful, could quite possibly lead to the end of the Guardians as we know them. Dun dun dun. And yeah, those were the things we got most substantially out of Phase 5, which makes sense. Those are all the things that are, coming the soonest. That brings us up to May of next year, as it were. We got then more information with Daredevil Born Again. They confirmed D'Onofrio, which you need, and they confirmed Cox. Hey, easy. 18 episodes. Holy shit. That is insane. That even in forget the MCU shows. That is insane. That's shows on network barely do 18 episodes anymore. 18 episodes is crazy, but I'm okay with it. I love Daredevil. I'm delighted we're getting more Daredevil. I'm delighted Charlie Cox and D'Onofrio are back. Please bring back Deborah Ann Wall. Bring back Elder Henson. Is that his name? Whoever, bring back Foggy and Karen. They were fantastic in the show as well. They were as much a part of that show working as the rest of them. The big question, I guess, now is, because Echo is, the introduction of the Netflix world from what we can tell. We know Daredevil is definitely in it. Is Daredevil Born Again going to be a lot of Daredevil, or is it going to be a lot of other street level heroes as well? They very clearly said, Kevin Feige said, street level heroes in Marvel in the MCU going forward are being held down by Daredevil, Spider-Man. They only have partial control of Spider-Man, really. Daredevil is their guy. Daredevil is all over Phase 5 so far. And he's going to be in She-Hulk. I'm delighted. I really am. I'm so glad Daredevil is back. I'm glad they're going to bring some of the Netflix stuff in, because some of it was really good, and Daredevil was certainly the best of Netflix for me. I'd love to see John Bernthal back as the Punisher as well, to be honest. Actually, you know what? I kind of would like everyone back. Even... I didn't like Finn Jones, but I'd feel bad if you didn't bring him back. Even if you brought him back for a little bit and then someone else became the Iron Fist or something. Stick him in the new Shang-Chi film. Do it. Born Again. Now here's the thing. They kind of did some of Born Again in season 3 of Daredevil. And they're not going to do Born Again like the comics. Because I don't think Marvel will go that dark. But it's just a fun title that works for the show's sake. Because Daredevil is quite literally born again on Disney+. You know, we don't know what the tone is going to be like. It's going to fit with the MCU, so probably not dark or R-rated. But I think, that, again, Daredevil's character with versatility. I do wonder if the 18 episodes is sort of a smokescreen, is going to be like 18 episodes. Here is part 1, 6 episodes. 6 months later, here's part 2. I don't know. Because 18 episodes at once is just an insane number for a streamer. But I'm going to watch every one of them as soon as I can. I love it. That was, honestly, there's a lot of great stuff announced. That might be the one where I was like, yes. And I seemingly wasn't the only one. We also got, this is just a minor change, but originally it was called House of Harkness. Now it's Agatha Coven of Chaos. Yeah, I mean, that comes off as more comedic. It kind of fits more Multiverse of Madness, you know. Coven of Chaos, Multiverse of Madness. I don't know, I think that works. There was a rumor that apparently Amy Poehler, Hannah Waddingham, who was in Ted Lasso, and Catherine O'Hara were rumored to be other witches. Yeah, I'm all over that, man. Why not? I should also point out, I find it weird that they're like, maybe winter, maybe spring, Halloween. Well, why not Halloween? But fine. I should also say this, okay? And this is something a lot of people have not touched upon, not mentioned. And that's why I'm so damn good at this. I might not be able to pronounce 90% of the names in the world, but Marvel had a date in their calendar, February 16th, 2024. That date was not mentioned here. Now, you might say, well, they probably just have nothing to do with it. Seemingly, they're still holding on to that date, seemingly. There's still something scheduled there. They have not removed it from their schedule, is what I've been told and what I've heard. The other thing to keep in mind is that when you look at their schedule, they don't have a movie at the start of 2024. So what's going to go in there? Everyone's talking about what could be in Phase 6. We might still have an unannounced film in Phase 5. But what? Well, we'll try to figure that out now in a sec, because there's a lot you have to try to figure out as we get into Phase 6. Like, fair play to Marvel, dude. That's how much they're crushing it. They could have just announced Phase 5 and like, we're done. No, they were like, we're going to go through Phase 6 now. I was like, excuse me? Wait, slow down. 18 episodes Daredevil? Is Phase 6? What? Man, they came out swinging with Phase 6. I'm going to go through... What's the best way of doing this? Because I have the calendar in front of me. I'll go through the calendar, okay? I'll try to do it as quick as we can. We only have 3 things we know for sure, okay? And I find this weird as well. The way they showed it was really dodgy. Like, they had, like, fall 2024 before Fantastic Four, and they had fall 2024 after on the timeline. I don't know what that was about. There's seemingly something fall 2024. I don't know if that's meant to be part of Phase 6. They were like, Fantastic Four starting Phase 6, so I have no idea what that's about. But there is something coming out in fall 2024, Disney Plus show. And the reason I know these are Disney Plus shows is because we can compare this to the calendar that has been released of, this is what we're putting an Untitled Marvel movie, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, what we have is first movie, Fantastic Four, November 8th, 2024. Then we have unannounced project, fall 24, Disney Plus winter 2024, a movie, February 14, 25, Disney Plus spring 25, Disney Plus spring 25 again. And then we have the big one, May 2nd, 25, Avengers, the Kang, Dynasty. Follow that up with a Disney Plus show, summer 25. Another movie, July 25. It's actually the 25th of July, 25, so 25. Then we have a Disney Plus show again in the summer of 25. I wouldn't be surprised if that pushed out a little bit to give a bit of room, because they have a pretty blank slate towards the end of that year, except for a monster of a film, presumably. November 7th, ending Phase 6, 2025, Avengers Secret Wars. Which, yeah, if you're keeping track, we're getting 2 Avengers films in the space of 6 months. Jesus Christ. Okay. We went from like, we haven't had an Avengers movie in a while, to like, here's 2, shut up. It's like the year of the Matrix. Remember when they did that, and it was like, second Matrix came out, and people were like, I don't know if I like the Matrix anymore. And then 6 months later, the next Matrix came out. Hopefully it won't be a case of that. So yeah, a lot of stuff there, a lot of gaps there. Only 3 things we know about. Fantastic Four and the 2 Avengers films. So, okay, Fantastic Four is going to be the first film in Phase 6. We know that for sure. What do we know about it? Nothing. We don't even know who's going to direct it anymore because John Watts has been pulled out. There was rumours they were trying to get Spielberg. Spielberg seemingly has no interest. I don't know why he would. I just don't see him doing that. So we don't know who's directing. We don't know who's playing that. We don't know who's casting. We know, apparently, according to Kevin Feige, it's not going to be an origin story. He says, plenty of people know the origin story. And can't believe I'm going to say this. Because normally I'm like, comic book origin stories, they need an origin story. I actually think it's the case where if there's any upcoming superhero film that needs an origin story, they do. Because when you look at the way they've been represented, they were in that Nightmare Bomb from 2015. They were in, the Fox ones that people don't really remember. And weren't definitive. So really, they kind of need an origin story, even if it's only quick or brushed upon. And maybe that's what he means. But I think they need an origin. Because it feels like people are just going to be like, why? How did they become the Fantastic Four? And hearing that, and then the possibility that they might already be the Fantastic Four in the MCU spread around, that kind of is a bit worrying. But hopefully they can get Fantastic Four right, because it feels like no one has managed it yet. We should really be hearing about this film soon. D23 is coming in September. I have the exact date here. So we have Disney Plus Day is September 8th. D23 is September 9th to September 11th. I believe September 10th is when the Marvel panel is on. I think that is the case. That is the Saturday, yeah. So we're going to hear a lot more about, what's coming to Disney Plus as far as the shows go at D23. We're going to be hearing a lot more, presumably, about some of these films. They gave away a lot considering how close those things are, but fair play to them for doing so. The Avengers films will be released in 2025, as I mentioned. First one is the Kang Dynasty. Second one is Secret Wars. Now, what is also interesting, and this is why it was handy to not do this immediately after Comic-Con, we didn't know a director for this. And the big question in everyone's mind, because they said it all over the place, was, are the Russo brothers going to come back for Secret Wars? Because they have basically said, like, yeah, we might come back if they do Secret Wars. We love Secret Wars. We'll direct Secret Wars. Marvel, are you listening? I actually felt so bad for them. I don't know why. Because it feels like they were promoting, what's that thing, Grey Man? Not a superhero film. Apparently not very good. They were like constantly defending Marvel, being like, Marvel are great. And everyone was like, wow. See, it's nice to hear people not shit on Marvel, even though, of course, they're not going to because they made them, basically. And then it was like, straight away, it was like, oh, so are the Russos coming back? No. Like, it sounded so funny because, like, it was basically like, hey, Kevin Feige, who's going to direct Avengers Secret Wars? I'll tell you who's not going to direct Secret Wars. But we do know the director of the first Avengers film, Destin Daniel Cretton. Fuck, this is another one where I meant to look up how to pronounce his name because I keep calling him Cretton and I feel like I've insulted the man. Oh man, I hope I'm not doing a counter of mispronounced names because there won't be enough space on the screen. Destin Daniel Cretton is going to direct. I've said his name both ways now, so maybe I'm about to get one of them right. He of course directed Shang-Chi. He's very busy in the MCU, man. He's going to direct this seemingly Wonder Man series he's working on, Shang-Chi sequel possibly, and now this. I think most people assumed that since they were so close together, it was going to be two Avengers films filmed back to back. That's not the case. Also very interesting. I mean, it's crazy. Like, these are coming out in 2025. Yeah, you pretty much have to get to work straight away. I would not surprise me if he didn't do the next Shang-Chi film. So that's also pretty much everything we've heard. I should say as well, the big complaint, and this is something you have to give to Marvel, and compare this to DC. They heard the complaints and they addressed them. The complaint is, no one knows what this is building to. What is this? At least before we knew it was the Infinity Gems, the Infinity Saga. Marvel were like, okay, Phase 4 to Phase 6, the Multiverse Saga, which is something we all knew, by the way. Anyone that was like, oh, I don't know what this is building towards, the Multiverse Saga. And I think it's, as much as I'm like, man, they're really burning through stuff very quickly here, I think the Multiverse is something they could very easily get burnt out on quick. So it's good that they're kind of wrapping it up sort of quick, I guess. As long as they don't rush things too much and we get enough time to play in that sandbox. And look, the amount of projects they have going on would burn people out more than anything. I actually think they probably have too much of some stuff, but we only have a few questions really coming out of this. Aside from what filled some of those slots, which we'll try do now. It's going to be a disaster. I'm going to be wrong. I tried to do this back after Endgame came out, and I'm sure I was completely wrong. But a few questions we have. First of all, they didn't mention the Werewolf by Night Halloween special, which is pretty much confirmed. It's meant to be coming out this Halloween. We hear nothing about it. Odd. Very odd. But again, Disney Plus days are in the corner. Probably hear about it then. And yeah, we're going to hear a lot about that stuff, I think, during D23. So anything you're not sure of, probably get the answers to there. Now, if we were to guess the 7 TV shows, I think there's 7 Disney Plus TV shows coming out in Phase 6. Okay? Obvious one, Armor Wars. This was very odd. Because, honestly, they didn't actually announce a lot of new stuff. Aside from the Avengers movies and Daredevil Born Again, this was all stuff that had been mentioned before. And Armor Wars was always mentioned as that. But it got no mention here. It's really conspicuous by its absence. And it was very strange because, you know, it didn't appear in the 2023 or 2024 calendar. It's still listed on their site. The showrunner, I think it was, said, yeah, don't worry, it's still coming. It's rumored to start filming this year. I don't know. It's coming. It could be the fall 2024 slot in Phase 6. You know, and that it would be first thing in Phase 6. Who knows? You know, I guess maybe they figured, you know, let's get Ironheart out of the way, and Ironheart is coming when, you know, Ironheart is coming, you know, fall 23, so maybe it makes more sense to give those a bit of space. I don't know, but very strange. It is coming seemingly. Here are all the other shows, right? These are shows that are either rumored or confirmed. Okay, so we have a Wakanda. Now, there's also a question about this one. I've seen people put it as one series and separate series. So there's Wakanda series, okay? When Ryan Coogler made a deal with Marvel, a larger part of that, they mentioned they were doing a Wakanda series. Set to star Danny Gurira as Okoye. Nothing else is known about this. We haven't heard anything about it since. There was sort of a suggestion that there might be a Wakanda series and a separate Okoye series. Maybe. So who knows. The Wonder Man series, as I just mentioned a second ago, Destin Daniel C. So we won't besmirch his name. Signed a production deal with Marvel. As you can see, he's going to be a busy guy. And he's working on Wonder Man, apparently. May start filming early next year with the, you know, Simon Williams Wonder Man. That it seems pretty likely. So far, like, at least 3 shows are there, possibly 4. And there's 7 slots, you know, possibly 6 even. Nova is another one that's been rumored. Apparently, Moon Knight writer Sabir Perzada is working on a Nova series. We don't know anything it's about it, but Richard Rider's Nova. A 10 Rings TV show. At one stage, there was talk of this after the post-credit scene to Shang-Chi. But I don't remember anything beyond that. Maybe it was just a rumor. Young Avengers Academy, which we'll talk about why I said Avengers Academy there in a second. Could they be getting in somewhere? It seems like they're really set up the Disney Plus shows to have a Young Avengers thing going on. I mention that every time I talk about a Disney Plus show. But look, when you actually count it down, let's say, okay, they have 7 slots. Let's say they have 7, even though, okay, let's go through the slots. We have Fall 24, possibly Fall 24 again, Winter 24. We have Spring 25, another Spring 25, Summer 25, and Summer 25. So yeah, 7, unless the Fall 24 is something I've misrepresented. So we have 7, possibly 6, okay? And then we count it down. Armor Wars, Wakanda, Wonder Man, Nova, 10 Rings, maybe if we get that, and a Young Avengers thing possibly. That would fill up those slots pretty quickly. Now the other thing is another series of a current series, another season I should say. What if Loki comes back for a season 3? What if they do another season of Miss Marvel or Hawkeye or any of those? It could happen. It's not impossible. Could they be making room for more Netflix shows with Daredevil out of the way? Maybe. I would not be surprised if we got a Heroes for Hire show with Luke Cage and Danny Rand. Maybe. You know, and again, there's other characters that they've introduced since in the films that they could do something with. Obviously, we could get another season of Moon Knight, but we could get America Chavez. Could we have our own show? Possibly. I don't know. Like, the fact that they gave Agatha Harkness her own show means kind of all bets are off. It could be anyone, really. But let's figure out. Anyway, unannounced films in Phase 6. I've seen so much speculation about this, but it's actually... there's not a lot when you actually look at it. A lot of those projects are probably Disney Plus stuff. But we have February 14th, 2025, July 25th, 2025, And again, if you know, I said there was that date that they have there, February 16, 2024. Could it be something they're going to use? That would obviously be part of Phase 5, maybe. But here's the problem. There are those, 3 film slots, let's say. If we do count it as indeed 3 film slots. And I do actually, I'm going to keep it, let's keep a few things in mind before I go into speculation, okay? Spider-Man is owned by Sony. Sony announced those dates, has nothing to do with Marvel. So none of these dates are going to be filled by a Spider-Man property. Also, let's talk about what they did recently, which is... Actually, I'll come back to that. I'm going to talk about the films that we know are in some form of development first, okay? So, Shang-Chi sequel was confirmed. Where does it fit? Phase 6 somewhere? I mean, is it going to have the same director? Possibly not, because he's going to be working on an Avengers film now. Deadpool is getting an MCU movie, Deadpool 3, or whatever it may be called. We don't have any firm details. It's expected to keep the R rating, and they said it may film next year. If that was the case, you could put Deadpool on that date in Phase 5 in February. The first Deadpool movie did come out February and did incredibly well there. Could work there. But I mean, Deadpool is in one of these slots. I think it's further along than any of the other Fox properties aside from Fantastic Four. But actually, I suppose it might actually be further along in Fantastic Four because we know who's working on it, seemingly. There's 2 projects then that are vague. Okay, those other first 2 are confirmed. These ones are vague, and you'll see why now. The first one, Scarlett Johansson is said to be producing a film with Marvel. We don't know what it is. They said it has nothing to do with Natasha Romanoff. This came out when, just around the time where they had that lawsuit with her. And yeah, is it a Black Widow movie? Is it a spin-off of Black Widow, one of those characters? Is it something like Thunderbolts? We have no idea. Is it just a token produced credit? Is it something that's already been announced? I don't know. We have no idea. The other big one, the elephant in the room, The Mutants, which could be the title, apparently. God, don't call it that. A mutant-centric project. We only first heard about this at the last Comic-Con, which, as I mentioned, was a long-ass time ago. And he was like, we need to talk about mutants. And he didn't. And he still didn't talk about it. You fucking liar, Kevin. That's why we're on first-name terms. Why is there no talk about this? Here's another rumor I'm going to report now. There's a talk going around that if they were to introduce the X-Men, either with the existing actors or just the X-Men in general, the producers of the previous films, so like Simon Kinberg and I guess Bryan Singer, might be entitled to compensation, credit, and even possibly creative control. I don't know if I fully buy that rumor, but it is weird there's no mention of X-Men. I think of all the properties they've inherited from Fox, it's the one that needs the most time away anyway. There is so much going on in the next few phases. I think it's fine. I mean, why not make the next X-Men movie or next Avengers movie, Avengers versus X-Men? I don't want to say, I've seen people say like Dark Phoenix saga would be a great phase. It would, but goddamn, I'm so burnt out about Dark Phoenix, and we've had it twice in like 15 years. But God, we have to get something from the X-Men soon. We have no idea what it is. It is very strange. The question really is, do I think X-Men is going to take up one of these spots? And honestly, I don't think it is. I'm sure this is going back to bite me in the not too distant future. I'm assuming we're getting a Shang-Chi movie. We're definitely getting a Deadpool movie. I think we're going to get 2 of those. That's 2 of those slots gone. And I don't think that last slot is going to be an X-Men one. If it is going to be an X-Men one, maybe you can do it in between the Avengers, and it would be the July date. But also, if you're doing Secret Wars, don't you want, like at the very least, you want Hugh Jackman, right? I don't know. It is very odd. But I think there might be. I think X-Men we're going to wait a bit longer. But and you know what? Like that is something that they can just pull out at any time, and everyone's going to be like, yes. You know, Phase 7, first announcement, X-Men, boom. People lose their damn minds. Okay. I also think we should keep in mind Marvel's recent trademarks. Now, keep in mind, some of these are just in case, probably. Some of them could be film, TV, who knows? We have no clue what they are. I mean, I think some of these could even be like, you know, just trademarks that they'll never use, just in case someone tries to buy it up. Could be something for like a mobile game, maybe. I'm not sure. But what is interesting is these came out the night before Comic-Con. And some of them were accurate because they had, you know, the names of the Avengers movies before they were announced. They were accurate. So let's go through this list. It's a long list. Avengers Eternity Wars, Captain America Red, White and Black, Nomad, Celestials End of Time, Eternity Saga, Avengers Excursion, Avengers Timeless, Avengers Academy, Timeless Saga, Hercules, and this is a weird one. I saw this. I looked up the filing, and this is how it was presented in the European filing system anyway. Hercules, Rise or the Gods. I assume it's going to be Rise of the Gods. I don't know. Sam Wilson, Captain America, The Black Knight Origins, Shang-Chi and the Wreckage of Time, Runaways New Era, Red Guardian Generations, Midnight Suns. Again, no mention of X-Men or mutants. Interestingly enough. Okay. Avengers Eternity Wars, like we assume they're going to do something with the Eternals at some point. We don't know what it is. I mean, you don't pay Harry Styles not to use them. Where do they fit in though? I don't know. I mean, I don't think the next Avengers movie is going to be Eternals. I don't think that's the big hit they think it could be, you know. Captain America Red, White and Black, I believe, oh god, I can't remember the character's name. He was introduced in Falcon and Winter Soldier. But that was the name of his comic, so it could be that. But again, is what would be the benefit of doing that as a film or as a series, unless it was a character that was going to play in, you know. Nomad, the title Steve Rogers took up, but he you know, he doesn't need that anymore. Bucky could use the Nomad title, but you just had Falcon and Winter Soldier, so do we need another one? I don't know. Celestials End of Time, Eternity Saga, you know. Again, two kind of eternal things, sort of, possibly. You know, maybe. I don't know. I honestly, just out of pure curiosity, I'm very interested to see what they do with the Eternals. Avengers Excursion, Avengers Timeless, Avengers Academy. Avengers Academy could work for Young Avengers. There was an Avengers Academy comic, and it was that kind of vein of younger heroes. You know, I don't know. Avengers Excursion, I don't know. That sounds like it could be a rated theme park. I have no idea. Avengers Timeless. I think that could have just been an alternate title, or to throw people off the scent, because it feels like Kang Dynasty, you know, time. It kind of feels like that ties in there. The Timeless Saga, you know, Multiverse Saga kind of works, unless they're going to do something. You know, the Timeless Saga is literally just any character, any time, any Marvel character. I don't know. But then any continuity is just gone. Hercules, Rise of the Gods. Of course, Hercules was just introduced in Thor Love and Thunder. Spoilers, my review is on the channel. And so is my review for Fantastic Four and Punisher and every Marvel thing. Go watch them now. I think that's a show. I think it would be a good show, actually. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Sam Wilson, Captain America. Again, terrible title. So I don't think that's anything. And he's already getting a movie, you know. Black Knight Origins. You know, we met... Dane, what's his name? I nearly call him Dane DeHaan. Dane Whitman. The Black Knight in Eternals. I'm assuming they're going to do something with him. I could see it being a series, actually. With Kit Harington, maybe. Shang-Chi and the Wreckage of Time. A lot of time stuff going on, isn't there? You know, could be the title for a Shang-Chi sequel. It could be. Why not? But we'll see. Runaways New Era. That's a weird one, because we had a Runaways TV series that no one really latched onto it, I don't think. Maybe they're going to reboot it and make it more X-Men focused. Could be. Red Guardian Generations. You know, Russian Avengers. I don't know. I don't know if they'll do anything with that. It could be a series, I guess, but I don't see them doing it. I don't think it'll be a movie. And then Midnight Suns. That's the one that's most interesting. A supernatural team. It feels like they're really building teams all over the place. A cosmic team, a street team. A young team. So a supernatural team would kick ass. You know, we we're getting all the pieces. You have Blade, Black Knight could fit in there. Moon Knight, I don't know if you're going to Oscar Isaac back, but you could try. Who else did I not mention? Blade? Did I say Blade? Black Knight? I don't know. But yeah, supernatural heroes. That's one that's very exciting. Will we see it? Maybe eventually. And it's really hard to tell if any of this stuff is going to work, because is it going to be a series? Is it going to be a movie? It feels like there's some stuff that's a series that should be a movie, and there's some stuff that should be a movie that should be a series right now, and it's a little bit murky for me. But like, really, when you go through it, it feels like we know what they are. Like, I went through the shows there, and those fill up all the slots. With the movies, Shang-Chi, there's 3 movie slots, right? And they could squeeze more in. There's plenty of time and a fair few gaps in that schedule for films. Shang-Chi, Deadpool. What's the other one going to be? I mean, it could even be a sequel to something. Like, it could be Doctor Strange 3. I don't think it will be. Maybe not right now. But there's a lot of things it could be. And I have no faith in that release list. Could it be an X-Men thing? Potentially. Yeah, it is an interesting one. It feels like there's not going to be a lot of surprises. But we will see. There's a surprise that could be on the TV side. But either way, that was Comic-Con. Feels like it ended on a bit of a, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm like, here's all the information. Do with it what you will. Yeah, and you know, Shang-Chi will fill the 1 movie slot, I would imagine, because he's going to be very pivotal. I would imagine now that, Destin Daniel Cretton, I had to do it one last time, is taking the mantle of the Avengers. I could imagine that, we're going to get another Deadpool in there somewhere. Who knows what the story with the X-Men is? I could see them, if they're going to be anywhere in Phase 6, it's going to be between those 2 Avengers movies. I think. I'm not fully confident in that, though. I could easily be a sequel to... We could easily be getting a sequel to, anything from Phase 4 right now. Probably not an established hero, so that would lead me to think... I don't know if they're doing an Eternal sequel. I'm sure the Eternals are going to show up. I don't think we're going to get an Eternal sequel. Is there anything else that is crying out for a sequel? Not really. I mean, Spider-Man is going to fit in somewhere, but that's a whole different slate. But anyway, that was Comic-Con. That was Phase 6. That was Phase 5. That was the Marvel extravaganza. And yeah, D23 is around the corner. Disney Plus Day is around the corner. We're going to get clarification on a lot of this stuff. There's so much. It never stops. But yes, I hope you enjoyed it. That is the show. That is Pop Cult Pod 49. Woo! Woon like we're in Hall H. Next one is 50. Which means I'm going to take another big break, as I often do. I'm sure I spent more time often on the last while, but I'm going to take time to do episode 50. Episode 50 is going to be a little bit different. I have an idea for it that I hope is possible, and I'm really excited if it is, but time will tell. If you did enjoy this, please give it a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We have so much going on at the moment outside of the podcast. We have Any Good, which are our reviews. We've got Series Look, we're looking at Bond, way more stuff. Either way, wherever you listen to this, please check out the YouTube channel. Please recommend it to a friend. Do whatever it is you do. Hope you enjoyed this. I've been your cult leader, Tom Pott. Please come back next time, because remember, can't spell cult without you.